So, I was talking about a professor, uh, Darwin Asimoglu, in MIT. There, they have a institute of work, and inequality, and they are mentioning that the new knowledge is being created to then put a right context to artificial intelligence, and that is one of the approaches of that institute. And of course, uh, the- within economics, nobody knows the link between artificial intelligence and good economics and governance better than Professor Darren Nasima, while he has a team of really learned professors, in the center of inequality and work. Now, uh, here I would, then briefly introduce the idea, the concept note is that, what is artificial intelligence? How would we understand it? Uh, it is a fascinating world, but there is a lot of concern that, that artificial intelligence might disrupt societies. I mean, that's something of an impression of social media. uh, it is social media is changing behaviors, but then of course there are so many great videos in YouTube. There are so many great professors that have accounts in X and all other social media websites, and leaders, political leaders would have, as well as their presence in social media. So there is a lot of learning as well. But then mostly the impression is that these are commercial enterprises, and then they might disrupt societies rather than stabilizing them. Arab Spring is one of the examples, or in the old days of 2016, um, Facebook was blamed of maneuvering American politics. Imagine that, the politics of a country which is so scientifically advanced and which is democracy, but at the same time, uh, it is mainly world's most efficient technologists and researchers and universities will be represented by American research institutes and universities and think tanks. Now, this AI, this the AI we have, and the story we have about the AI is kind of non-serious, but at the same time concerning accounts, and especially raised by uh, you know uh, uh, professionals, professors, and as well as policymakers who are not students, or not young. They're quite perturbed. So if for them AI represents a little bit of a non-seriousness, as if that AI would take over humanity. There's a fear, but this perspective which I'm going to present you is that indeed it seems to be non-serious. I have written quite many books and manuscripts with coordinating with ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, and Subturing Broadbot. Now, uh, uh, I can also say that there is information-centric AI, and there could be knowledge creation-centric artificial intelligence. What MIT is working on is knowledge creation-centric artificial intelligence. But then, how would you know that? How would you develop a knowledge-based knowledge, the AI, which is source of knowledge creation, and would be a great assistant to serious work of governance. So, I mean, there's a small idea which I can easily share that imagine the mostly when I've written in my articles that the problem in international governance is they don't take into account of indigenous understanding. Where Microsoft and other companies, Melinda and Gates Foundation, as well as MIT, is one of the most specialized institutions who would introduce controlled experiment methodology, and that methodology would then be applied to understanding behaviors, economic, social, political, legal, scientific behaviors of communities in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. And those, though they would represent a certain locality and would be micro data, but methodology is very important to understand. Similarly, USAID, World Bank, DFID, IMF, Asian Development Bank, Asia Foundation, and all the international NGOs would have monitoring and evaluation frameworks, would have complex quantitative frameworks to then understand the data or transform qualitative data into quantitative data variables to then understand the effectiveness of any of the project. Could be $1 million project, few $100 million project, would then be evaluated whether the outcomes are the same as it was intended for making an effective policy making. So control experiments would give us yet again a micro methodology, but at the same time there is such a rich data and understanding expertise available